Well, it's Monday the 4th of April. It's the Easter school holidays. We're out on the boat for a couple of weeks and we thought we would take you with us for a week so you can see what it is like to live on board in the middle of a refit and sail around the Whitsundays.
This is Brilliant 2, a Kelly Peterson 44 built in 1978. This is us, the Smallwoods. And this is the story of our long overdue boat refit. Welcome along for the ride.
We're in Blue Pearl Bay where we've spent the night, but it's time for us to vacate our mooring and head to one of the next islands south. First thing we've got to do is lift our flopper stopper out of the water. Do you want to explain to everyone what a flopper stopper is, my love?
Well, the flopper stopper in the sailing sense of the word. You'll see it when it comes out the water, but it's been our secret weapon with this boat. Petersons have a very round hull and we do roll a lot. And this has improved our life aboard no end. This is probably the most effective $350 we've ever spent. It's made by Magma, the American company that makes the barbecues. All this does in the water is when the boat rolls, it folds up like that, falls directly down with no resistance, and as soon as the boom starts coming up it snaps open again. And the amount of resistance it's only 3 feet by 2 feet wide, it's like a shock absorber on the car. It just stops the boat straight away. It's just brilliant. Magma flopper stopper. You can get them from Whitworth's.
It has literally changed the quality of our lives aboard. It felt like we could never go anywhere except a lake without rolling before we had this thing, and trust me, we tried to make several homemade incarnations of a flopper stopper and none of them have worked as well as this. This has just been brilliant. And we're not affiliated with Magma in any way, although if anyone from Magma's watching and would like to give us a barbecue, awesome.
This guy here just keeps the pole back in the position we want it, and we pull the pole back till it's just about an inch away from the forward lower shroud. Don't want the aluminium tube rubbing on the stainless.
And this is just using our regular spinnaker pole.
This is a lovely little deck bag that we got made up. We were always putting our flopper stopper and all our spare ropes right here on deck. And we thought, well, why not make a canvas bag? This is attached to a couple of eye bolts, so it can't go anywhere in a heavy sea or whatever. Always a good idea, no matter how short the voyage or how good the weather, put everything away. You never know what can happen.
I'm so glad that we just got that on video, because the next time Julian doesn't put stuff away, I'll be able to play it back to him.
Huddy ha ha. This is actually our staysail. It just lives here in a bag, ready to go, attached to the inner forestay.
So the next thing we'll need to do will be to let go the mooring, but for that I need to go and start the engine and get into the helm position.
There's no wind, so I'm going to put any sails on.
It's just going to be a very short motor to the next place. Here in Stonehaven Anchorage, just like in Blue Pearl Bay, there's public moorings here. In fact, there's public moorings over most of the Whitsundays, which is pretty amazing really. You always approach a mooring coming into the wind. I've literally just got the engine idling in forward. If you go tearing into a mooring, it's going to be very difficult to stop the boat and make it really hard for the person on the bow who's trying to grab the rope. So I'm just about lined up. I'm going to go into neutral now so we can just coast towards it. Julian usually angles the pole so that I can follow, because it's so close now that our superstructure is obscuring it. I can't see it at all, so I'm going off the direction of his body basically. see of the boat hook. So I can see it go down. The next thing is to stop the boat. It's a short burst in reverse, and he always gives me a thumbs up when it's up on the deck and sitting around the windlass.
What we do here is just loop this over the windlass, and then I always put a piece of rope through the loop. Doesn't even have to go all the way, it's just a safety. If it did jump off there, I don't know how it would, but if it did, we're not going to be drifting free of the moorings. So that's it. It was a fantastic job coming in, babe. I think you did probably 10 out of 10 there.
Earned my beer tonight.
What? And here we are at Stonehaven. Last time we were here, there was a massive waterfall coming out of there.
Can't even see a trickle today. One of the reasons we've come to Stonehaven is because unlike Blue Pearl Bay where we were, and also Langford and Black Islands that we've just passed, this is not a green zone. So green zones are set up to protect the environment, so you can't fish in the green zones. And Josh is desperate to try out his homemade fish trap that they made yesterday. And Josh, cabin boy here, who's actually been asleep on our 4-mile journey, has got up now that we're in our new spot and is ready to test out your fish trap. Well, before we could do anything, it's actually just started raining, but this is a good thing because we've just had some modifications done to our side clears by the good folks at Ullman Sales Whitsunday, and this is the first test, isn't it?
Yeah, we put these eyelets in here and put bungees with a hook on, so we can hook them up at
You can see the starboard side clear in action here. Basically what it means is that we can put the side clears in when it's raining but not have to zip them up completely, which means that we still do get a bit of water in. It's not completely dry, but we're also not passing out in the heat. One of the things that's really nice about this anchorage, and pretty much any anchorage on the west coast of all these islands, is that they are really great sunset spots. And I don't know what we're going to get this evening because it's been a bit rainy on and off this afternoon, but sometimes that can mean an absolute cracker. Anyway, it's a great place to enjoy a sundowner or two. Thank you, my love.
Cheers.
Cheers. Day 2 and here we are at Stonehaven having our morning tea.
What's going on in the fish tank this morning, Josh?
We got a crab, we got 2 sea slugs, we got 3 pistol shrimp. Dad, move, Dad.
The boys are going to go and do some fishing. So the first thing we have to do is put our dinghy in.
We had these davits made up sort of to our own design. So it's fantastic having the dinghy in the davits. You don't get any marine growth and it's completely safe at night. It's also always up there when you're coming into a mooring. And with this design as well, the actual dinghy's about 6 foot above the water. You'd have to have some pretty serious weather conditions before you actually impacted with a wave. So we've got a couple of safety strops here just in case the main block and tackle fails. We've got a jam cleat up here and a 3-part block and tackle. Unclip the safeties. And the way we keep this dinghy nice and tight in here is these turnbuckles. There's one here and there's one up here which you might be able to see a bit easier. They hook onto a U-bolt. It's bolted through and reinforced on the back, and we just tighten the turnbuckle up. Pulls the dinghy in nice and tight. So I'm just going to loosen this. So now the dinghy's swinging free. Had these bags made up by Ullman's. That's another safety. we always cleat off, so you're not relying on the jam cleat on the top of the blocks. Same over this side. So the next thing we do is drop the ladder. I think we're ready to launch. Move the cat litter out of the way.
This is a two-person job now, so I need to put the camera down and help. Right, ready?
Mm-hmm. It's the most stable tinny you've ever seen, thanks to the captain collar.
Oh, that's a good one. Stonehaven is renowned for bullets, which is big wind gusts coming down off these high-sided hills. The taxi is ready.
We'll be back, love.
Okay. Good luck.
Somewhere calm. We'll probably have to go up there near the shore.
While the boys are off fishing, I'm going to take the opportunity to do some yoga. There's not a huge amount of space down below, but there's just enough here in this walkthrough for me to fit a yoga mat. As you'll see, it's a very tight fit. I pretty much have to stand in this position here when I want to reach up, because I've got to put my hands up through the hatch. It does limit what sort of practice I can do, but it's enough. It gets me by.
So the fish that we caught this morning, Josh and I, we're just making sure we do the right thing. I've looked up what you can take and what you can't, size limits, etc. Wire netting cod is one of the fish that we caught this morning, which is the smallest one I've ever seen, about 2.5 inches long. And the minimum size for a wire netting cod is 28 centimetres, I believe.
38, I think.
38 centimetres, so that has been, we've put that back. The other fish was a species of wrasse that we've never seen before. Josh will look it up in here. Nevertheless, whatever species of wrasse it is, there's a size limit on that as well, so that's had to go back, unfortunately. There are a few species that we are allowed to catch, which are hardyheads as a bait fish, all the squid species, small crabs, stuff like that. So there's still plenty of scope for him to catch stuff, put it in the aquarium and observe.
He's not very happy about it. Oh darling, it's okay. You're doing the right thing. Well, the wind's really picking up now, so it's time for us to slip the mooring and head on to the next location. So these are our instruments all ready to go. We've got our Raymarine plotter here that we use as a fish finder or depth sounder, and I'm just about to put this Raymarine plotter onto the chart setting. So this shows us where we are here in Stonehaven. Here we've got our autopilot. This is the controls. That's obviously our oil and temperature gauges for the engine. This is another depth gauge. Anyway, it's kind of had it. That needs replacing. This is our wind speed indicators, anchor road counter, and that shows you what's going on with the engine revs. We are all ready to turn the engine on and slip the mooring and go. If you look at our wind speed indicator, we're heading about as into the wind as it's possible to get. There you go. Dead into wind, which is why we've got no sails up. The wind's gone a bit more southerly as we've just got around the bottom of Hook Island and the seas are standing up. We've had to put the side clear in here. This is another purpose for these sides. You zip them up completely when it's like this. It keeps the cockpit dry. It's one of those things, wherever you point the bow of a boat, That's where the wind comes from, isn't it, babe?
Especially with a sailing boat.
We're actually going to head down to Sid Harbour just because this wind is going to blow for a good couple of days, we think. There's actually a cyclone out in the very eastern Coral Sea. It's not affecting Australia in the sense that we're on any kind of cyclone watch or that it's expected to head this way. What it is doing is freshening the wind here, shall we say. Well, we've just arrived in Sid Harbour. Anchor's in, we're not going anywhere, so it's time to switch the engine off. Well, here we are. We're a bit weather beaten. We've got to clean the boat up now, haven't we? Wipe the salt spray down off everything.
Yep, but it's nice and calm now, isn't it? Look how calm it is.
Yeah.
Well, it's raining in the Whitsundays this morning. We've just finished a lovely breakfast in the cockpit whilst it has been chucking it down.
Keeping the cockpit dry isn't the only thing we have to do when it's raining, because you see, boating is not all obviously beer, skittles and sunshine. What happens as well is that our battery levels go down. We're not using wind generators, we have solar panels, and so when it's sunny we can go days on end without running the engine. When it's not sunny, we have to do something about that.
If you haven't got one of these, you have to get one. There's several different brands. It's a battery monitor. This is by Victron. It tells you everything you need to know about your batteries. Anyway, we're down to 63%, and all we've put into our batteries today since this morning, and it's now the afternoon, is 3%. So this means that by tomorrow morning we'd be down to 50%, and we really don't want to do that. What we've got as a backup beyond starting the engine is just a little 2 kVA generator, which is also used for power tools and stuff like that. So we're going to give that a go, plug it in and see what happens. So here's our little yummy generator. So this is our shore power inlet. What we're going to do is plug this 240 volt lead into here, which is exactly the same thing that we do when we get to the dock. 103 amps. That's the charger. So it's telling us it's on the mains.
Yeah.
It isn't really, but it thinks it is. It's a generator. That's bulk charging. There's nothing on here that tells you how much is going in, but that's why we have the battery monitor.
Very good. Power! What have we got going on here then?
Well, we each had a handful of bricks, and we had to see who could make the highest freestanding tower. And at the moment, I'm winning.
Competitive dad. The Lego challenge. Rainy day activities.
So this is the first time we've ever had to use a generator to charge our batteries when we've been out on the water since we installed the extra solar panels, since we've had a kilowatt of solar.
It's 4:20 in the afternoon, so we've had this on since 2:20. There are times when you do this and times when you don't. It's polite not to be running a generator when everyone's out there trying to enjoy the sunset. Not that there's much of a sunset today, but that doesn't really matter. Oh, silence is golden! Yay! What do you reckon, Peps? Hey? It's nice not to have that noisy generator on now, isn't it? We can enjoy the serenity. Alright, well it's Saturday, day 6 of our first week out in the Whitsundays. and we're still in Sid Harbour because the weather's really set in. It has been bucketing down, I mean like tropical rain. Anyway, it's very calm in here, but after each little rain shower we're sort of rocking a little bit. So we're going to put the flopper stopper out. You saw us retrieving it from Stonehaven, but we haven't shown you how you actually deploy it, so come with me.
Here's the pole on the deck. There's one person's putting it up. It's always good, especially if the boat's moving around a bit, always leave one end fixed. So I'm just going to lift the forward end up and hook it up to the spinnaker pole topping lift. This is actually a spinnaker pole downhaul. We run this through a block. That's going to attach to the flopper stopper itself. And now I need one of the ropes, which is the spinnaker pole guide, which is going to hold the pole back, and I'll hook that up at the same time.
Yeah, that goes in the jaws underneath the spinnaker pole.
Yep. That's where you normally have the spinnaker sheet. So what I'm going to do now is hook the other end of the pole on the mast. This is a heavy pole. All I've got to do is handle one end of it, the other end's under control. Go. I'll just hoist this above head height for obvious reasons. Pull this out. This is going to attach to the flopper stopper. And I'll pull the pole back. Now the sheet has to be released to allow the pole to come back. Right, now I'll get the flopper stopper out. Here's the attachment line for it, which I'll hook up now to this. Now what I have to do is adjust the tension on the aft guy, get the pole to go out as far as it will go. We just pull this back until it just doesn't touch the stay.
There you go, teensy gap.
And then we adjust this so there's just a little bit of slack in it. Tie that off. That's it, it's set.
There we go. Being near the end of our first week, it's time for me to go through the fridges. We've got 2 fridges built into the boat. There's a reason why there's lots of markings on here. The galley is our next part of the refit. I'll just lift the lid off. This divider is something that we've put in. One of the things that we do that just makes it so much easier to organise is put everything in tubs. So when I want to get to something underneath, I haven't got to go moving all this stuff. I've just got to lift out one tub and voila.
These are the original fridges, which on older boats they come with really thick, very good insulation. Top loading is the way to go. You take the lid off, all the air doesn't fall out, it just sits in there. This used to be a eutectic system in here with a holding plate. That was engine driven, also driven off a 110 volt compressor. It was so unreliable we eventually ended up putting a Waco drop-in system. It's all pre-gassed. And basically there's a cold plate, and then under the sink in the horrible locker as we call it, there's a little compressor, tiny little unit purring away there. These units are almost, I should say that while touching wood, they're almost set and forget. The only maintenance we have to do with this, these type of evaporators, they have lots of gaps which the air has to travel through, and this is already getting blocked up. So about every 4 or 5 nights I'll just leave this switched off, and that clears it, and the fridge works much more efficiently when the air can circulate.
This fridge is really, really deep. There's actually 2 levels. It's an amazing amount of space. I'm totally converted to top opening fridges. I used to find it really annoying not being able to have a front opening fridge and the ease of just opening a door and getting to things. But now that I understand the benefits of just how much you can put into these things, and also how well it keeps things, because the thing with a front opening fridge is that as soon as you open that door you let out so much of the cold, whereas with these that's just not the case. So again, with the tubs, it's not such a pain to get to everything, because if you move one tub, well, you're already at the layer below. The other thing that we've got in here is a modification that we made, which is a little freezer section. So this homemade freezer door is basically just a couple of pieces of EVA foam glued together. That fits inside here. And here we have a freezer. Here we have our false bottom, which is basically just 3 sections of slats, and this goes right down, follows the shape of the hole. Oh, may have gone a bit mad on the Easter chocolate.
Maybe we should start now.
And the final piece of our refrigeration puzzle is this separate portable Waco fridge, which we actually use as a freezer. At the moment, while we don't have a table in the saloon, we're just putting it here for convenience. One thing we do to save space is remove all the supermarket packaging and we repackage it, and that's a way that you can get more supplies on board when you're going out for a longer amount of time. When we charge the batteries with the generator, the one thing it doesn't do is heat up the water. Our water's heated by coolant from the engine. It doesn't really matter for things like doing the dishes because we can boil the kettle, but if we want to have a proper shower, then we need hot water coming out of the tap. So we're just running the engine right now, and we are about to take this break in the rain and go and have a bit of explore, because the nice people on the boat next to us told us that the creek is really flowing today. So an upside of rain is of course waterfalls. Off we're going, chasing waterfalls. End of our first week. In the space of this week, we've been to 3 locations. We've had some amazing weather and some not so amazing weather, and the boat's been going pretty well this week. I think the point of
Touch wood, please. Touch wood.
Touch wood. I think the point of all this is that even while we're refitting, it's good to keep using the boat. You have to use a boat. If you're not using it, that's when things start corroding and seizing up and breaking, and it's good for us to get out for these chunks of time like this and just keep all the systems running.
Yeah.
We haven't done any sailing this week, but
the engine's running, all touch wood again, but it's doing its normal chugging along, the old Perkins.
Josh may not have been able to catch any of the fish that he wants because he's not allowed to, but he has worked hard on his tank. That's Josh's handiwork over a week. Not bad, hey? Well,
here's to Sunday afternoons at sea.
Cheers.
Cheers, my love.
Cheers. If you stick around, we might even take you sailing soon.